Hello, hello. This is Adam, head of biz dev and publishing at WayForward, speaking to all our Tinkerbats and fans out there. I am flying solo today. Our uh, lovely Chris Hoffman is away, but I've got a fantastic guest here with me, one of the voice actors of one of our recent titles. So we're going to go a bit into how she got into gaming and what projects she has worked on with us. And then afterwards, at the end, hopefully, if we have time, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. So just to start things off, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show, Jenny Yokobori.
Hey everybody, I'm Jenny Yokobori. Like you said, I'm a voice actress. I voice Emmy Kimura in Yars Rising, which is really, really fun, and I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's we've been wanting to get you on the show for a while, and we had so much fun recording with you. And I think this is also one of the more chatty characters we've ever done. There's a lot of lines of
hmm
Emmy in the game and in the game in general. And thank you so much for making those awesome. And we were laughing hysterically in the studio, not just because I wrote it, but your performance, you just nailed every line. Everything was hilarious, and we just completely fell in love with this character. So thank you so much for being a part of that production.
Oh my gosh, oh my goodness, thank you for having me. I had so much fun recording Emmy. Oh, this game is just so, so great.
So the first thing we start with all of our guests is the question: what is your video game origin story? What are either some of your favorite video games growing up, or some of your current or all-time favorites? What got you into gaming?
What got me into gaming was that for a very brief period of time, my dad actually worked at a gaming company. He worked at Konami when I was really, really little, like 2 years old or something like that, and one day, he brought home a PS2, because I think it was he got it through work somehow. I don't really know the full story, I just know that one day he walked through the front door with a PS2, and the rest is kinda history from there. I got pretty much glued to that thing very quickly. The games that I started out with were, like, the How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because Konami made that one, and I just kinda, like, run around in it because I was, like, I was a baby, essentially, so I didn't know what I was doing, but I liked running around and seeing the Grinch run around. And then after that, after a lot of begging, I got my parents to eventually give in to getting me a Game Boy Advance, which really just kinda, like, especially, like, lit the fire under my butt, so to speak, in terms of, how much I loved gaming. Because then from there, I got into Pokemon Crystal, which has begun, like, a lifelong deep love of Pokemon. I played, like, man, ton of Harvest Moon growing up. I'm obsessed with the BioShock series to a ridiculous degree. Portal 2, Portal are some of my favorite games of all time. Uh, I mean, yes, Silent Hill, all of that. Just yeah, those are just a few things that come to mind right off the top of the dome.
Yeah, Portal 2 especially. That's one of those all-time greats in turn. I feel like that is just a masterclass on how to do VO in video games.
It's just an all-timer. It really is. I mean, I think that's one of the first games that really kind of like pinged on my radar of me being just like so blown away by voice acting. I mean, Stephen Merchant is just so funny.
He's so good in that. My son is obsessed with Weebly in that. He's just one of the all-time best characters.
He
You
is.
mentioned
I love
Pokemon.
Weebly.
Have you got to voice any Pokemon, humans or creatures? Oh, can't hear you. Aaron, did we go silent? Sorry, having some quick technical difficulties. We'll get back ASAP. Hold on one sec. We lost Jenny. We're gonna get her back ASAP. In the meantime, any questions that I can answer? If you have any general way forward questions, are there plans for a seventh game for Shantae? We are always planning future Shantae games. So yeah, I think it's nothing to announce at this point, but yeah, play the latest game, and we're always excited
Oh,
to get
sorry.
more stuff. Oh, no worries.
There we go. Yeah, my Wi-Fi crashed randomly, but I am
Oh, geez,
back.
welcome back.
Well, thank you. Good to be back.
So right before you left, I asked. You mentioned loving Pokemon. Have you had a chance to voice any Pokemon, either humans or creatures?
I do, yes. So I voice Horace, who is a cute little boy from Cianwood City, who in Pokemon Journeys and Pokemon Master Journeys, and I also voice Hatena, Hatrim, and Hatterene in Pokemon Journeys, Master Journeys, and now Horizons. I voice Hatena and Hatrim. I'm
That's
on
amazing.
Lico's team, or Hatena's and Hatrim's on Lico's team.
What's it like? So I guess it's still fairly prominent for adult women to voice young boys. I remember that was always kind of the standard for old school anime.
Yeah, I mean that's how it was when I was growing up for sure. I mean, I grew up watching, Pokemon and Digimon and even in Western animation too. I mean, Tara Strong as Timmy Turner, so iconic, and E.G. Daily as Tommy Pickles too.
Oh yeah, she is always great. And we talked to a lot of guests that have plenty of experience in things like video games and anime stuff. You are also on one of the most popular cartoons of all time. You're a Simpsons character. That's crazy.
I am a Simpsons character. Yeah, I'm a couple Simpsons characters actually.
And how did that happen?
It's unfortunately not like a super thrilling story. It's, I got sent an audition via my agents at the time, and then I auditioned, and luckily I booked it. But I did almost not submit on it, which I'm grateful I didn't listen to that impulse.
Oh yeah, you
So
got to swing
yeah,
for the aim for the stars, swing for the fences, whatever the metaphor.
yeah, I was 23 at the time, and I was just getting started in voice acting. Acting, I think I was like maybe like a year in or something. And so I figured there was no way in hell I was gonna book it, and so I just, like, didn't I wasn't gonna submit at all, but then I figured my agent would be mad at me if I didn't at least try. So I think, like, probably, like, 5 minutes before, the deadline or something, I knocked out an audition, and I listened to it, I'm like, "Okay, well, you know what? It made me laugh. This is fine, I guess." And so I sent it in just trying not to piss off my agent, and then a week later, I got an email, and I was like they were like, "You booked it." I'm like, "I think you're mistaken. That can't possibly be true."
Oh, that is wild.
Yeah.
Have you ever met your on-screen hubby, Hank Azaria?
I have, very recently I have. It was at our The Simpsons most recent premiere for the Christmas special for it's called "Oh Come On All Ye Faithful," and it was here in Hollywood, and Hank was there with his band, and I got to like introduce myself and everything, and so I finally got to meet my husband after 5 years of marriage.
That's so cute.
Hmm.
So you talked a little bit about kind of auditioning and stuff. How did you break into the industry initially?
Oh, just through pure determination and stubbornness. I was working full time at Disneyland doing backstage stuff, like very, very blue collar things, like working with power tools and driving trucks. And voice acting kind of came up on my radar through a series of sort of like fate like events. And so it kind of occurred to me one day, I'm like, I think that this is it for me. Like it just like I was working at Disney and it just kind of like hit me like a bolt to lightning. I'm like, I think this is my calling. And so I started just putting everything I could into it. Like I emailed, um, I had taken a workshop with Bob Bergen a few months prior because I was also a studio tour guide at Universal. And he gave us his email, and I was like, I want to get serious about this. How do I do it? And he's like, okay, well, take classes. And I was like, okay. And so I did. And so I like just started taking as many classes as I possibly could. I started picking up shifts at Disney, and, like, if anyone was ever like, "Oh, man, I'm trying to get rid of this," I'm like, "I'll do it, I'll take it because I need the money so I can afford more classes," and, like, I was so poor. I would, barter too. There was a teacher that I had, where I loved her, but I couldn't really afford the coaching with her. And so I was like, I will do chores around the house for you. I will do anything it takes because this is what I want. And so I would take on as much work as I possibly could, just push my body to the not even the point of breaking. Like I would just break over and over again. Like I would work a 16-hour shift and then I would drive 2 hours from Anaheim up to Burbank to take a 3-hour class. Um, and then I would drive back home to where I was living at the time, which was like another hour, and like do any auditions I may have had just through like networking and begging. So it took a lot of hard work, and then eventually I ended up taking a workshop with the executive casting director over at Disney, and I remember he said to me, he's like, "Hey, you're exactly the kind of person you should be auditioning for us." And I was like, "That's really reaffirming. That feels great." Flash forward to a few months later, I was working a shift at Disney, and I checked my professional email just to kind of like humor myself because no one was emailing me. I was nobody. No one cared who I was. And all of a sudden, I did have an email there, and I'm like, "That's so crazy! I didn't never got a notification. What is this?" And it was his assistant emailing me saying, "Hey, he loved you and he wants you to invite you to do a general audition with Disney." And I was like, "Holy crap, that's huge. That's massive." And then I saw the timestamp and it was from months ago. And so I had panicked like at 12 a.m. standing on a loading dock at a children's hospital being like, "Please, like I'm just now seeing this. This got lost. I'm so sorry." And they were like, "Hey, no worries. It happens. Like, let's set up a time for you to come in." And
And what
he
is that? What is that? I've never heard of that. A general audition.
A general audition, I had never heard of it either. It's basically, if a casting director at a studio really likes you, I guess, or thinks that you have something, sees like a glimmer in you, he like essentially just he was like, "Hey, come in and audition. I just want to hear your voice and see what you can do." And so
Oh, that's
yeah, he
cool.
brought me in and he like they sent me like this huge packet of characters I could choose from and like they told me to pick three different sides. I worked on them with my voiceover coaches and I went in and I like read them off and then as I was walking out that day he's like I'm going to walk you to your car and he's like which agency are you with because you should be reading for us. And I said, well, here's the thing about that. And I felt like I was catfishing him. I'm like, I don't have an agent yet. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I've been emailing them and no one's been like writing back to me. And he's like, well, who do you want to be with? And I said, well, I'd love to be with this agency. And he's like, I'll see what I can do. And then a week later, he emailed me himself and was like, I got you a meeting with the head of voiceover. Be there at this time.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was very cool. And it's like, I don't know, it's very apropos, I think, that I was working at Disney at the time because it felt very much like a Cinderella story.
Disney's great. We're my family and I are just such Disney diehard fans. We go all the time. But I'm obsessed with Constance Hatchaway from Haunted Mansion is my favorite Disney princess or favorite Disney character, and it's just yeah. Whether it's the park or whether it's the shows or the movies, it really is so magical.
Hmm. It's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
So, what is it like? You've done so much different types of work in your career so far. What is it like doing VO for video games versus for redubbing anime versus for original cartoons? Like, what are the differences in the processes or the approaches?
So original animation, it's the process is very different because anime, it's almost like doing surgery because you have to match the lip flaps that are already animated so carefully. Whereas original animation, you can just throw things at the wall and see what sticks. You can just have fun and see like experiment. You can ad lib. You can just do whatever you want, and then like if it makes the director and the production team laugh, then it's like okay, we're gonna push that forward and we're gonna animate around your voice. Whereas anime is so precise. It's like if you it goes through so many iterations because there's a translator and then a localizer who takes like translation and tries to make the words sound a little bit more conversational to English while also like honoring the amount of syllables and how often and how quickly the mouth is moving and then it gets to us and the director and then in the booth like just because of the way that everyone speaks the writer's natural speaking cadence might not match mine and so it's like I've had it be where I naturally speak very fast, and so even if I slow down a lot, then it will start to sound inorganic, and so then we have to rework it in the booth too. And so it goes through so many layers, whereas Western animation is just sort of like the writers write the lines and then it gets to me, and they're like, this is the line, and yes, we are married to it. Do not change it. Or other times they're like, have fun with it, ad lib a little bit. Feel free to get kind of weird with it. So it's just, yeah, it's a little bit night and day.
Interesting. Yeah, I know when we cast you as Emmy in Yars Rising, which is the lead character. I think we've mentioned this a few times for our listeners. We really go in with almost no preconceptions of who we are going to use in the roles. We don't cast the same people over and over. We just get usually via our amazing casting director Christina V hundreds of auditions, and whatever stands out stands out. And man, you just blew us away as Emmy. I don't remember if we listened to that toward the beginning or midway or toward the end of the auditions, but once James and I heard your version of Emmy, it became something we couldn't get out of our ear. When I'm writing dialogue, I'm always writing lines that leave an opportunity to impress us. So it's like, we're writing lines specifically in the sides for, like, can they nail the timing on this, or can they do, a great emotional line back to back with a funny line, and or even like in the same line. And yeah, your Emmy was just so fantastic. So I mean, thank you so much for being a part of the game, and for nailing that first audition.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I remember those sides so clearly, and it was so exciting because uh, as an actor, I see so many auditions every single day, but I remember getting Emmy and just immediately being so charmed by her and being like, "Oh, this is a really, really fun one. Like there's like some meat to chew on here, and there's like a lot of room for like being silly and kind of stupid." And it like the writing just really opened the door for so much creativity. And so
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
and I think there were the lines that were funny on the page, but so many of the funny moments in the dialogue is just from your delivery as well. Is that something you think about when you are, doing a performance? Like, where can I inject humor, or is it more just kind of you get in the role and it just comes off the cuff?
Definitely the second one. Every so often, like I mean, if I was doing like a stage show, then maybe I would find those moments because we are given, more opportunity to like really let it breathe and explore the material. But when I'm in the booth, it's just, it's essentially improv. It's all cold reads. And so it just got to be like really get into the character's headspace and just let the good times roll.
So Emmy, in terms of her vocal styling, it's not massively disconnected from the way I'm hearing you right now. But with every role, you have to kind of come up with a voice, come up with tones and everything. What is Emmy Kimura to you? Like, when if you were to be delivered new lines, is there any kind of thing that you have in mind for her vocally, or in cadence, or anything that you would do to get back into character?
I think she's just such a little spitfire. I think that's the thing that always stood out to me about Emmy is that she is both so confident, but also tries to hide behind her sarcasm a little bit. And so I think some of her confidence kind of comes from like maybe a place of like, insecurity at the same time. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah, that was always what kind of struck me with her, which is not too dissimilar from myself. And so I think that's one of the ways that I kind of really locked in on her character early on. But for Emmy, it's all about, like, keeping the energy because I don't know, she's a gamer, she's a hacker, and so I kind of imagine that she's on, like, 2 cans of Ghost at any given moment.
I think that's probably true. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely there's an element, and I think once we heard your audition, we played it up even more as we rewrote and added new lines that she covers for her uncertainty or insecurity by talking. Like, the more nervous she is, the more she talks. And I
Yeah.
don't think we've really done a character exactly like that before. It was really interesting dynamic with all these larger than life and genuinely kind of deadly scenarios going on around her, and she's trying to make effectively like dad jokes, and everybody's kind of groaning around her. It was very fun.
It was so much fun. Yeah, and also, like, this could be my own little headcanon as the actor, but it does feel like a little bit of, like, good old-fashioned ADHD as well. And so I think that her brain is probably moving, like, 10,000 miles a minute, and so I think that she has to speak aloud to even process what's going on around her a little bit.
You are absolutely confirmed. As we were writing her, that was it in our mind, is that this is her kind of speaking style, and the way that her mind works and stuff. Absolutely 100%.
Okay. Exciting.
Have
Confirmed.
have you played the final game yet? Have you and if so, what have you thought of hearing so much of your VO coming out of this character?
I haven't got a chance yet. I'm so
Oh
behind on my
no.
backlog of games. It's been like months and months since I've actually had time to like sit down with a video game. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, let me know if you need any more copies or codes on any platforms. Definitely, because there's such a focus on Emmy the character and such a focus on VO, that's something that got mentioned in every review, and I know a lot of our fans really like the character. I really enjoyed. Also, I don't know if you saw that there was the prequel comic book that came out. We worked on it after the game was done, but it actually came out before, and especially after working with you in the booth and hearing all of your performance as that character was great to have a second crack at writing her and definitely had your voice in mind as I was writing that comic book as well.
Man, she's so much fun. I really hope we get a chance to revisit her.
We need to. And as I know
Yeah.
it's nauseating, but as we always say to our fans, vote with your wallet. The more people that play Yars Rising from Atari, the more of a success it is, the more likely we can do more of
Hmm.
them, just like we have with River City Girls and Shantae and the games that we've done that have gotten sequels. But
Hmm.
yeah, I love it. I think it's such a special game.
Also,
Um,
couldn't help but notice that there's someone missing from this stream setup that you have here. Just couldn't help but notice that
from what?
on the way forward video loop that you guys have here on the podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. We probably should get her in there. It's we tried to play it a little bit careful in terms of either characters we control or own. But yeah,
Hmm.
we should add to it and definitely we should get Emmy in there. I think she would feel right at home there.
She needs someone to talk to. She's so chatty.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason she's not there. Is I think she would immediately dominate the conversation.
That's actually very fair. I don't think she would be good in a team podcast type setting.
Yeah. What are some of the other video game specific roles that you've worked on in addition to Yars Rising?
Oh man, there's a lot of them. I think I'd say like a good at least 60 to 70% of my work is video games.
Oh wow, I would have
Yeah.
figured a lot of people it's more on the anime side, but it's interesting to hear that you do more video games.
Yeah, I do a lot of video games. Let's see.
What are some of your favorite ones?
Oh, Evie from Fortnite was really, really fun. I think she's kind of like Emmy adjacent for sure. I think they're both very like sassy, kind of like anti-heroes, like slightly morally gray heroes. Where it's like Emmy was doing, she was taking down a corporation, but she still was doing a little bit of a crime. And then Evie herself in Fortnite, she admits like she calls herself a criminal artiste. So Evie for sure, I love her. I voiced the Phalanx in Demon Souls, which a lot of people don't know. And the Demon
I
Souls
did not know that.
remaster. Yeah, yeah. And then a big question that I get a lot when people come up to me at conventions, they're like, "I didn't know the Phalanx had a voice," and I'm like, "Well, not in a traditional sense. It's more that was one of my roles that I've gotten to be a creature, so it was all just like growls and snarls and like screams and like unholy gurgles. It was so much fun. I love that part.
How do you get those gigs? Is there even an audition for like weird creature sounds?
There was, yeah, it was an audition, and that was one of the coolest auditions I've ever received and gotten because it was like it was very vague. I had no idea what I was auditioning for at the time. But it was just like, oh yeah, so she's a giant slug monster essentially, and she is like she was a knight in her previous life, but now she has to like scream and do all these efforts. Oh, and by the way, she has no mouth. And I was like, okay, what does that sound like? How can I make those sounds if she has no mouth? And so it was a very like I don't know, it reminded me of like acting school, kind of like sort of like having to like go under the hood and figure out how everything is going to work and whatnot. And so that was a blast. And then actually getting to book that gig and being a part of such an iconic franchise is such a cool thing. So that's another one.
Do you ever play the Souls games? I am not skilled enough. I keep trying and I keep failing, but I
I've
know they're
tried.
the
I'm
most
not.
popular thing in the world.
Yeah, I've tried. I really like them. I watch a lot of the lore videos, but like my anxiety starts kicking in really bad because I'm always like, I think that I'm such a perfectionist that I approach the Souls games at a way that is not compatible Whereas like, oh, I have to do it right the first time, and then I can't, obviously. Or it's like I can't lose any of my souls. I have to like stay alive no matter what. And of course, again, that's not how you play a Souls game. And so maybe one day I'll be able to play it properly and not hold myself to an impossible standard. But for right
Yeah.
now, I haven't really cracked that nut yet.
I really
Um,
want to play through Bloodborne, but
yeah,
again, it's just they're so hard. The only one that I can even get halfway into is Elden Ring, and I think that's supposed to be one of the easier ones. But wow, just they are such immersive games.
they're so cool. They're so beautiful too. Such incredible games. Bloodborne is my favorite out of them all because I'm a big horror fan. And
Yep.
so I love the entire aesthetic and environment and atmosphere of Bloodborne. I love the lore that they've baked into it. It's just so gorgeous, and I've watched a lot of playthroughs of that one because it's just so incredible. What a masterpiece. Another gaming role I'm trying to let's see. I recently I'm in two anime style games. One called Master Detective Archives Raincode. I voice a character named Martina Electro, and she's really, really cool. She's like a assistant, but she has a big like step on me kind of attitude, which is really fun. That was a really fun one to play. I also voiced Nier in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which is one of my favorite parts that I've ever gotten to really dive into because she's really, really emotionally damaged, and everything is just so high stakes with her because she's so emotionally intense. And I have a lot of love for her too. I also love Akemi, who I've recently gotten to voice for I, the Somnium Files, No Sleep for Kaname Date.
That's a hell of a title.
It is. It's a mouthful, but it's a really, really great game. And Akemi was so much fun.
um, Do you do you have any experience or any interest in like a lot of the people we work with, Stephanie Shea and Christina V and Patrick Seitz, where we worked with them with as actors, but they've also done quite a bit of writing and casting and direction behind the microphone. Have you done any of that, or do you have any interest in that yourself?
I have indeed. I've done it quite a bit actually. I've been casting and directing for about 5 years now.
Oh, nice.
Um, I love it. I just actually wrapped up a casting a project, and it just got fully funded and then some on Kickstarter. It's called Draculeshti. It's
Oh,
a
congratulations.
horror romance visual novel, and I'm so excited. We're gonna start production on that pretty soon because our funding period is just wrapped up. I think all of us are just kind of taking a breath now after the Kickstarter. But yeah,
When you're casting your own project, how do you either, not give yourself a role immediately or remember to give yourself a role? I know with Christina, we work with Christina on most of our stuff. We usually have to remind her, remember audition, because she usually leaves herself off. But yeah, how do you find a balance between yourself, the performer, versus yourself, the casting director?
I have the same attitude as Christina. I tend to abstain from auditioning for my own projects just because I don't know. I already have an opportunity, and I really like the chance to construct a world with different people, and I also just I don't know, I get a really big kick out of giving people opportunities and, seeing them shine and like setting them up for success. And so I'm kind of like I don't want to do that for myself. But that's also a me thing where sometimes I forget to be my own advocate and cheerleader. Um I have been in projects that I've cast, but typically it's because it's a client request. Um,
Yeah, that makes
where
sense.
it's like where they're like they'll come to me and they're like, "We want you specifically, and we want you to cast and direct this because we also want you to be in it." And I'm like, then in that case, it's like I can't really say no. Um, the other, yeah, essentially that's it. Where like someone has to remind me and sit like beat me over the head and be like, "We want to hear you, otherwise I will not do it."
Yeah, I tend to make Christina play all my bitchy, evil antagonist roles because she's just so good at it.
She's so good at, but it's so funny because like she's the opposite. Christina's one of the sweetest
Oh
people I've
yeah,
ever met in my entire life. I
absolutely.
I I've recently played a few bitchy characters, and hopefully the true same is true about me as it is Christina. But yeah, I love playing villains. hopefully I'm not evil in real life. I don't think I am. My therapist doesn't seem to think so, so that's a green flag.
What about are there any bucket list either individual characters or if you can't say just types of characters that you would love to play that you haven't had a chance to yet?
There's a few franchises that I want to get my grubby little hands on for sure. As I said earlier, I'm a huge horror fanatic, just fully obsessed with it. So I really, really want to be in Chainsaw Man. That's been the
Oh,
dream
nice.
for as long as I can remember. Like the second I read Chainsaw Man during the pandemic, I was just immediately like, yeah, man. Yeah, I want to be in this so bad. I actually had to stop reading Chainsaw Man because I got so just obsessed with it that I'm like, if I never get to be in this, it's gonna hurt too bad. So I have to step away. But Chainsaw Man for sure. Silent Hill, the new one just got announced at the cast. I would love to be in a Silent Hill game someday.
I directed
Um,
a Silent Hill game at one point.
oh, I love Silent
I
Hill. I
directed the
love it so
super
much.
weird one, but we got to work
That
with
does not narrow it down.
oh, sorry, the weird one for Silent Hill, the Book of Memories on Vita. But we there was a
Gotcha, yeah.
huge focus on VO, and we got to work with folks like Steph was in it, but we also got to work with Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, Travis Willingham, like all
Just a
that
few
crew was
small
on it. So it was
names. Just a
pretty
few
awesome.
small, unknown developmental talent names. Yeah.
Exactly. No, nobody ever heard of him after that.
No.
Um,
None of them
uh,
have gone on to be massively successful. Definitely
and
not all of the names that you named.
Speaking of horror, aside from Emmy Kimura, you voiced two different characters in our remake of Clock Tower. Thank you so much for doing
Which
that. You
was
voiced one of the girls and the narrator, right?
which was one of the sickest experiences of my life. Like on a very real note, like that is one of the biggest honors I could have ever imagined. When I caught wind that there was gonna be a Clock Tower remaster, I just immediately like lost my mind just as a fan. And then the fact that I got to be in it and involved in it is just such a dream come true. Like I really can't thank you guys enough for having me on that project.
Oh,
Like when
thank
I
you.
say that I love horror, I mean it. Another oh
Well,
my gosh,
we
another
do quite a
horror
bit of horror
example.
stuff, so yeah, we'll keep you in mind specifically for that. We'll make sure that we definitely get you auditioning for every character for all the future horror stuff, and we've got some interesting stuff going on
Please.
right now, especially.
I love horror so much. I have been obsessed with it since I was a kid. The first God, I remember sitting in my friend's like playhouse in her house that was like down the street from mine and like watching The Ring through like the windows of it. And God, like we would have sleepovers and it would just be us watching horror movie after horror movie after horror movie. Like my happy place as a child was walking down the aisle of Blockbuster just looking at all the covers.
Yeah,
Um,
my kids are 15-year-old boy, 12-year-old girl, both of them obsessed with horror. My daughter recently, don't judge me as a dad, but she's making her way through all the Scream movies. She loves the hell out of those, so I'm
you're not
raising
gonna
them right.
I was like 4 years old watching The Ring.
Oh yeah, me too.
You are not gonna catch any judgment from me. Oh my gosh, absolutely not. I remember going to the local library and just checking out any and all of the books on monsters that I could like possibly carry back to my place. Like I was also another horror thing that I did was I was a maze supervisor at Horror Nights when I was
Oh,
20.
nice.
That was one of the coolest jobs I've ever had. I was also the year before that when I was 19, I think my official job title was chainsaw supervisor. Because I would sit at a folding table and with like that was covered in chainsaws, and all the performers would have to come up to me and they're like, "My saw stopped working," and I would be either be like, "Okay, it's out of gas, switch it out for a new one," or I'd be like, "It's fine, you're just not pulling the ripcord well enough. Let me show you how I did it, how you do it." I was like 100 pounds, and I would just like show this grown man how to pull a chainsaw cord. And
That's
then,
incredible.
yeah, and then when I was maze supervisor, I was, running around like crazy, making sure the maze was working and, like, just bossing around these monsters. It was such a fun time of my life.
Any favorite horror films?
Oh, I could go on for years about this. Let's get into it. I mean, Ari Aster is a master of the genre right now, so is Jordan Peele. I mean, God, I love Get Out so much.
Yep.
Hereditary is one of the best movies I've ever seen, period. Midsommar is also incredible. I mean, Get Out, Nope, Us. I mean, both of them, like any movie those guys make, I will be
So
sad.
you love the kind of weird, twisty postmodern stuff, it sounds like.
I mean, yes, But also Scream is one of my favorite movies of all time too.
Scream is
Like,
so
I mean,
good,
like
especially the
you
first
like,
one.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like like, I mean, how are you supposed to be like Billy Loomis and Stu Macher? Like, it's incredible. But I don't know. I also really liked the Jack Quaid's Ghostface, which
Yeah, I did too.
I
I
loved him.
really like by the same directors as that. One of my favorite horror movies
Ready
ever
or
is
Not.
Ready or Not.
Ready
So
or Not.
good.
Yeah, Radio Silence. They know how to make a fucking movie. Am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
No,
they know how to make a
I've watched that
fucking
movie at
movie.
least half a dozen times.
Oh, me too. No, Radio Silence, they're another one because like I loved them ever since they did their little feature on VHS, which again, also the VHS movies are
Oh yeah,
so much
yeah,
fun to watch.
definitely.
They are a blast. Like, oh man, You're Next. Speaking of that kind of VHS family, and also like You're Next, so much fun. I need to see Weapons soon because I don't want it to get spoiled for me.
Yep, yep.
Um,
Same here. I have not seen
man,
it yet.
no.
Barbarian was insane.
Oh, Barbarian is such a blast. Oh, I watched that. I think only like one small thing was spoiled for me going into it, but I had no idea what to expect. Yeah, I watched that like by myself on my TV in my living room. I turned all the lights off and I was like sitting at home with my cat, and that was such an ideal viewing experience. Man, what other movies do I
I just
love?
watched
I
with my
mean,
son The Monkey. Did you watch that one?
no, that's another Oz
It's
Perkins one.
so good. It's
Oh,
really phenomenal. I highly
I
recommend
love
it.
I love Oz Perkins, and I also love that the place that I knew him from originally was him playing the awkward law student in Legally Blonde.
Right, exactly. I think a
Yeah,
lot of people know him for that.
and then also that his dad is Anthony Perkins. His dad's Norman Bates, which is
Of
crazy.
course.
And
Also, he is
speaking of
incredibly prolific. He's just been cranking the movies out. He's already got a next one at trailer,
I
and
don't
Monkey
think
just came
that
out.
man sleeps. I don't know how the hell he does it. Oh man, speaking of classic horror movies too, I'm obsessed with the Universal monsters, Frankenstein especially.
Oh, nice.
Uh, Back when I mentioned briefly that I was a tour guide at Universal, that was like what I was known for in the break room was the weird girl who was obsessed with Boris Karloff and Frankenstein because whenever I had to like stall and riff on my tour, I would always just find a way to like tie it back to Boris Karloff because that's what I found it most fascinating. I love man, there was another movie. I really love Rampage if you've seen that one. It's not
Oh
really a
yeah.
horror movie as much as a thriller, but it's such a blast. Also, Yuri Lowenthal makes an appearance in it, which is super fun.
Yeah, I was going to say
Oh,
another one that I really love. It's not exactly a horror, but it's horror adjacent. Is did you ever see the movie Green Room with Anton Yelchin?
no, I need to. Oh, Anton, what a
It's just so perfectly done. So yeah, if you just love the structure of horror movies, even though it's
I
a little bit more of a suspense movie, man, it just scratches all the itches.
I also, I mean, love Train to Busan, The Wailing. I mean, Korean horror is just so incredible. Um, Man, I'm obsessed with Junji Ito. I got to be in Uzumaki, which was another honor of a
Oh,
lifetime that
nice.
I can't believe got to be a thing. Um, Man,
But
you know how
we'll get you back when we do any horror movies, games. We'll definitely get you back when WayForward does the Chainsaw Man game and anything of
ah,
that ilk.
please. Oh my God. You know that thing where like someone asks you what your favorite thing is, and all of a sudden you can't remember a single one. That's how it feels right now because there's so many other horror movies
Oh
that I
no,
mentioned
you
thoroughly.
brought your bona fides. You definitely rattled off some good ones.
Listen, I know my stuff. Like I would say that like arguably horror is one of the things that I know the most about.
Yeah, same here. I've directed a bunch of horror games. I've done horror kids books. I just finished my first horror graphic novel. Anytime I have a genre preference, I go to horror 100% of the time.
Me too. I will I will work on anything and everything horror, like any opportunity I possibly can.
We will hold you to that for sure.
Do it.
um,
Like I this is not something I take lightly. Like horror is my life.
no, I know, and I remember when we mentioned Clock Tower, you did seem genuinely excited. Where it's like, well, it's it's just about like a very tiny session, but you seem pretty jazzed. And I don't know if you noticed, but your scream is in the trailer. I
It
think it's the
is.
launch trailer. Yeah.
I did notice that. Like, I'm I man, horror. I just oh man, I love it so much. My scream is also featured in a game called Cooking Companions, which it's a little indie horror thing, but it got
Oh,
featured
cool.
on Game Theory, which is really cool. But
Nice.
yeah, if whenever you die, I believe that is my scream because and that's another thing where it's like it's a tiny little thing, but I post fairly regularly on Twitter, just like begging horror creators to let me work with them because I think they're the coolest people in the world. And Cooking Companions reached out. They're like, it's a very tiny thing, but do you want to just like scream for us? And I'm like, I would love to scream for you. Yes.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, which was so cool.
Oh, who'd you play in
And
that?
I played, it's in this DLC, or no, I don't know if it's DLC. It might just be like a different campaign thing. I don't know the proper terminology, called Rush Week. So I got to play a sorority sister who's being chased around and being like terrorized. And then at the end of the session, like they were so sweet because screaming is obviously very vocally stressful. But they're like, "We'll save the screams to the end, and you only have to do it like once or twice. Like, don't worry about it." And I was like, "No, I want to do it as much as possible." And they're like, "What?" And I was like, I love this. Like, this is what I've been waiting my entire life to do, is like screaming in a horror thing. Like, no, let's keep going." And like towards the end of the session, at the very end, they like save the screams, and I was like, "Do you guys want more?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I want to do more. I want to scream more." And so they're like, "If you want to," and so I just gave them like 10 additional like minutes or something
Oh,
of
that's
just me
amazing.
screaming. And they were like, "Is your voice okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good." Like this is, I can't overemphasize it. This is something that I've trained very specifically to do, because like I remember going to my first haunted house as like a teenager and being so enamored by it that I wanted to work in one. So I would just scream constantly so I could learn how to do it safely in a way that didn't hurt me. And
Right.
so I'm like, yeah, no, screaming, doing big, meaty screams, that's my cup of tea.
So I have a very wonky question for you then.
Hit me
Why
with it.
is it that as a horror fan, I go to so many movies and such, and I hear the same canned screams or baby cries or meows over and over? Especially with screams, I always wonder why are they not just re-recording it? It seems like a lot of movies just use the same stock screams from decades ago.
I honestly kind of imagine that it is kind of a vocal stress thing. That would be my educated guess. That it could just be like the actor who is playing the character might have a really crazy production schedule, or they might be
Uh,
filming things simultaneously, or like, they have to be on set like 13 hours one day and then sleep a few hours and then be on set the next day and do a bunch more lines. And so it could just be like a trying to preserve their voice kind of thing. That
for
would
the
be
record, no
my
scream
guess.
double for Jenny, right?
No, never. You can hold me to that. I want the internet to hold me accountable that if I ever get the honor and pleasure of being in a scary movie, I'm gonna do my own stunts as far as screaming goes.
Perfect. All right, we're almost out of time. And before we get into questions from the listeners, if you guys have a question for Jenny, just go ahead and type it in chat. You put a big question mark before it so we can notice it. Something we ask all of our talented professionals that we have as guests: do you have any advice to people that want to become a professional voice actor?
Ooh, I mean, it's the advice that I got at the start of my journey, and I keep have to reminding myself of because I can be kind of impatient, is that it's a marathon, not a sprint, and to not burn yourself out too much. It really is like it happens when you least expect it, and it's just you have to pace yourself and take it slow and steady, but also like a marathon, you have to train for it. You don't just jump into it, and so take as many classes as you possibly can. I mean, study theater for sure. I mean, I think that's the foundation which I built everything in my career off of. Take classes at your local community college or do a local theater production. If you're a kid, take theater classes or join drama club at your school. And then from there, it's like take classes from really reputable teachers. Like look at people who are teaching whose careers you would like want to emulate. If Because I only say that because there are a lot of scams out there as far as voice acting goes, because a lot of very predatory people know that it's a very desirable career and they will try and make a quick buck off of it. But yeah, if they don't have any credits that don't take classes from them. If they are not working consistently, don't take classes from them. Because there are a lot of people who will try and take your money. But yeah, just yeah, pace yourself, learn as much as you possibly can, and don't be a dick.
That's good advice for any industry, and
Mhm.
definitely that's been the prevailing thing in my working at WayForward, the people who are dicks do not hang around. The people who are very nice end up hanging around a long time.
Hmm.
And you mentioned earlier also about working on a project that just got Kickstarter greenlit. Is that something you actively do? Like, in addition to just working on established, fully funded, existing, studio projects, are you interested in, indie projects, projects where, you're right there alongside, the other creators trying to get the thing to come into existence?
4,000%. Yeah, 120,000%. I love indie projects. I think, like, listen, I love AAA titles and I want to work on them for the rest of my life. But at the same time, like, I think that indie projects are the beating heart of the industry. Like, indie projects are where people like really get to like stretch their wings and express themselves to the fullest extent of their ability.
For
And
sure.
so I think it's where we get to see so much rich art.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And
And so if I
our
can,
studio, even though we've been around for over 30 years, we're still an indie studio created and owned by one man, and I've been so happy to work here for the past 20 years. I'm very old. But it makes it so much fun whenever we get to work with people as incredible and creative as yourself. So thank you again so
yeah,
much for
yeah,
being
oh,
a part
yeah.
of our crazy Yars Rising game. And yeah, anybody who wants to hear some of the best VO we've ever had in our games,
Oh
especially
my
from a lead
god.
character, please check out Yars Rising. You can play it on PC and all console, and it stars our guest today, Jenny Yokobori, as the silly but immediately lovable Emmy Kimura. Um, tell before we split, tell people what you're up to, or where they can find you on social media, or anything else that you want to mention.
Yeah, so social media, I am just at Jenny Okobori. You can find me on Instagram is probably where I'm most active these days, but I still do have my Twitter account. I just never check it anymore unless it's like talking to an artist about a commission. So if you want to interact with me, Twitter is your best bet. I am on YouTube too. I post silly videos on TikTok every once in a while. But mostly, please check out Draculesti, Draculesti. It is a project that I'm working on right now. I am directing and I cast it and I'm helping produce the VO for it. We're going to get started soon. And it's a team out of Melbourne. And it's one of the most incredible like games that I've ever had the honor to be a part of. I am so impressed and in awe of this team. They have worked hard to create such an incredible project, and I'm so lucky to be a part of it. So check it out. It's you can wishlist it on Steam right now, and we also have a playable demo.
Nice. I can't wait to check it out. And
Yeah.
you do public appearances too, like conventions and stuff.
I do. I'm doing a convention this weekend in Long Beach. So if you want to
And
meet
which one
me
is that?
at Long Beach Comic Con.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so if you want to come say hi, get a autograph or take a picture, I'm going to be in Long Beach this weekend, which is very exciting. And then with every interview that I do, I always encourage people to check out HFC, which is a call Hilarity for Charity. It's Seth Rogen's charity. I do ambassador work with them, and it's one of the most important things that I do. They provide aid and financial resources to caretakers who are taking care of loved ones who have Alzheimer's or dementia, while also providing money towards research to help cure it. So please check out them and donate if you're able to.
Oh, that is so nice. My father, who just passed away recently, went through Alzheimer's, so saw
Yeah.
that very up front and close. So you're doing good work.
Yeah, my father passed away from Alzheimer's too, which is yeah, this is one of the most important things that I do where I'm like if I can help other people not go through the things that I did, then that's life well lived.
Oh, bless you for that. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you again so much for joining us. I'll rattle off. We got a couple of just general way forward questions. I'll just answer those really quick. How is Yars Rising different from other Yars games? It sort of has everything from the original game wrapped up in a crazy Metroidvania style adventure game by WayForward, featuring the incredible VO of Jenny Yokobori. Check it out. Are you guys ever going to do anything else with Mighty Milky Way? We would love to. We're always looking back at our previous titles. Nothing to announce now. Will we see a re-release of Contra 4? I hope so. You'd have to talk to Konami about that. And can we get more Shantae and River City and Yars and such on GOG? We're always trying to get our games on as many platforms as possible. Nothing that we have to announce right now that we have not previously. But there we go. Thank you again so much, Jenny, for joining us. Thank you for your incredible performances on our games, and I hope we get to work together many, many times in the future, especially on horror stuff.
Oh, me too. That would be the best. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, and we'll be back sometime soon. In the meantime, make sure you check out all of our available titles. We just recently launched Shantae Risky Revolution, so check that one out as well, the newest Shantae game. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Yay, thank you.